Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Inshallah, so now we've heard about the 10 virtues of Ramadan and our final goal and the ultimate goal and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how we can achieve that love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or earn that love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And now what I'd like to do is introduce a second speaker, Shad Imam. Ustadh Shad Imam is a board member of the Adam Center and he's a co-director of the Qurtuba Institute. He studied at various different intensive Islamic camps, the Alim Institute and under Imam Majid, and also at Zaytuna Arabic intensive program. He currently blogs for Al-Madina Institute and has spoken at ISNA conferences and youth camps throughout the area and throughout the nation. He currently lives in Sterling, Virginia with his wife and 3 kids. And without further ado, many of us know Shad Imam as a pillar of this community and the future leaders. He will be talking about time management. Again, how to take the virtues that Ustadh Adam just talked about and to plan for that during this month of Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Guys, it's only 10:45. Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa may yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله على آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وبعد, it's wonderful, mashallah, to be here with you this morning. We were very, very, mashallah, encouraged by the response that we got from the number of emails and people saying, you know what, we've been looking forward to something to help us prepare ourselves for Ramadan. I wanted to tag along with what Ustadh Adam was actually talking about earlier. The concept of barakah and time are actually interrelated, which is why in the program you find the section on time management directly after the virtues and the barakah of Ramadan. I wanted to begin in the short talk that I have today, talking about a personal story, actually not from Ramadan, but from one of the other pillars, from Hajj. Many years ago, actually 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago, my wife and I were blessed to make Hajj to the house of Allah Azza wa Jal. And as is often the case, right, I've never been there before, into the Holy Land, so to speak. And on our way from Medina to Mina to actually start the rites of Hajj, I become very sick, very ill. You know, I've got congestion in my sinuses. I'm just not feeling at all 100%. I wasn't even feeling 50%. And I kept thinking to myself, why did it have to happen right now? Right as the rites of Hajj are about to begin. I'm about to engage in the manasik of Hajj, and now, all of a sudden, I become ill. I went to Imam Majid, Hafidahullah, who was actually our group leader, and I said, I don't know what to do. I'm like really, really ill right now. I have an 8-hour, at least, bus ride from Medina to Mina. What shall I do? Imam Majid just gave me one advice. He said, continue to make dhikr. Just make dhikr. Like every opportunity you have, just say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika labbaik, and just keep making that dhikr over and over again. And subhanallah, for the entire 8 hours of that trip, I could do nothing else except make dhikr. I couldn't speak to anyone, I couldn't sleep properly, nothing because of the congestion. And so for that entire bus ride, I did nothing except make dhikr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I remember coming into the tent. At this point, it's after Asr, and we're just now getting everything situated in our tents. And literally, they have, for those that have been on Hajj, there's like a calling it a mattress is really kind of elevating what it is. It's a soft piece of something that you lie down on, right? And all I could do was think about, I just have to lie down. I need to just go to sleep. So I remember praying a Maghrib and Isha together, and after that moment, I fell asleep. I woke up 3 times that night. 3 times. And every time I woke up, I thought I had obtained a full 8 hours of sleep. The first time I got up, I was like, oh my God, I've slept so long, I may have missed Fajr. So I went to the restroom, I go and I make wudu, I come back, I'm ready to pray Fajr, I see everybody else passed out around me, I look at the clock and it's only 1 o'clock in the morning. Right? I go back to sleep, I do the same thing, right? I go to sleep, I get up, what I didn't know was a few hours later, this time I was smarter. Instead of going to actually make wudu, I checked the clock first. And I said, SubhanAllah, it's only 4 o'clock in the morning. I went back to sleep. The third time I got up, it was actually time for Fajr. But for the entire night, I felt as if I had rested 3 nights worth of sleep. The time came for us to go to Muzdalifah, or to Arafah that morning, I was completely refreshed. Completely refreshed. It had been less than 24 hours prior to that I was sick. I went to Imam Majid, and I told him this story. I said, I don't know what happened. Something happened. But, all of a sudden, I'm okay. And Imam Majid looked at me and he said, what did you do in the bus ride on the way here? I said, I just made dhikr. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened up time for you. He knew that all you needed was rest. Because you remembered Him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in your time. Brothers and sisters, when it comes to time, many of us forget that time is a limited commodity. It's limited. There's only a limited amount of time. Although every single one of us has the same, 24 hours in a day, the question is, how do we use that 24 hours? How is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bless us in what we are doing in those hours? Because to Him, today, yesterday, tomorrow, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ittaqullaha wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat lighad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, O you who believe, fear Allah and look to what the soul has prepared for tomorrow. He's referring not to literally to tomorrow, but to the akhirah, to the hereafter. And He's asking us to look at what we've prepared for the akhirah. But the akhirah is referred to as tomorrow, because that's when it is, brothers and sisters. For any one of us, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be the day after, or it could be years later, it doesn't matter. Time is a limited commodity. And how is it that we will spend our time? I wanted to share just one more story, that my wife actually taught me from a book of Imam al-Ghazali's that she had read, in which Imam al-Ghazali mentions that there will be people, imagine for a moment that every one of your hours is a box. It's a box. And on Yawm al-Qiyamah, you will see each of the hours of your life put forth in boxes. And you will open one box and you will find a fragrance. You will find it full of jewels and fragrances and good things. And you will realize these are your good deeds that Allah has beautified for you. Then you will open up other boxes and you will find them to be foul and disgusting. And you'll realize these are the hours that you spent in disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, more than anything, however, what you will find is when you open those boxes, how many of those boxes are empty. Hours that have been wasted, time that has passed us by, advantages that we didn't take in our lives. This month, brothers and sisters, the month of Sha'ban, and inshallah ta'ala the month of Ramadan, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to live through that. This is a time for us to fill our boxes with goodness, to fill it with khair, to fill it with things, with ma'ruf, with all of these good things. And we have to realize something, brothers and sisters, that in order to attain Jannah, we don't have to live for Islam, The requirement to attain Jannah is to live for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To make all of our actions oriented towards Allah. And I'm going to leave you with two things, inshallah ta'ala, that we should do to maximize our Ramadan. Number one, we must set some goals. Personal goals that we have for the month of Ramadan. Why? Because we don't want the hours to simply be empty boxes. We want them to be focused. We want to take advantage of it. So we set personal goals for ourselves. I'm going to finish the Mus'haf in the month of Ramadan. I'm going to pray Taraweeh every single night in Ramadan. I'm going to do such and such throughout the month of Ramadan. Whatever that goal is. And I would encourage you to adhere to the principles of goal setting, which, real quickly, because of the time, is to set something that is smart. It's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's realistic, and it's time-bound. You're bounded by time. Right? If you set a goal like that, it focuses you on what you should be concentrating on during the month of Ramadan. This is number one, is to make sure we set goals. In the same way that we set professional goals for our own professional lives, so should we also be setting goals for our spiritual lives. So should we also be setting goals for even for our own physical life. Set some goals, whatever they may be, number one. And number two, brothers and sisters, create a schedule for Ramadan. Why? Because the schedule will help us align our lives with the goals. It's not just about setting the goals, it's how do I achieve those goals now. You do that by creating a schedule. Making sure, I'm going to get up for suhoor, I'm going to make some dhikr or read some Quran, go to Fajr, come back, maybe rest some time, go to work, go to school, whatever it might be. But throughout the day, make sure you incorporate those spiritual goals that you've set. When you do that, brothers and sisters, we will see this is the way in which we can maximize the month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us to be a part of. And subhanAllah, I knew brothers and sisters that literally had said, you know what, I'm going to finish the entire Quran during the month of Ramadan, and they did the math and they realized they have to read 4 to 5 pages after every salah. You read 4 to 5 pages in a standard Mus'haf after every salah, and by the end of the month of Ramadan, you've finished the entire book. These are the things that we must take advantage of. And it doesn't just have to be with Quran, it can be in our own, it can be with salah, it can be with dhikr, it can be within our own character. Perhaps my goal is that I have to say one nice thing to my community member or my family or my parent or my children, whoever it may be, every single day. Whatever the goal is, set it and adhere to it. Studies have shown that when people write things down, they tend to follow through. When they write things down, they tend to follow through. So take advantage of the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put here for us, and make sure that our boxes are not empty on Yawm al-Qiyamah. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر